With me today is the gorgeous Louise Siwicki, and she is a global award-winning executive fertility coach, workplace advocate, and head of development in Australia for the European Fertility Society. With over 10 years of experience globally, both personally and professionally, Louise's passion and purpose were born from her own 6-year journey to conceive. She understands the emotional roller coaster and the complexities involved in I'll start that again. I scratched my nose. She understands the emotional roller coaster and the complexities involved in fertility challenges. Louise is dedicated to supporting individuals and workplaces by bringing awareness and change to how fertility is viewed and managed, focusing on mental well-being. So welcome, Lou.
Thank you so much, Julie, for having me. I was so honored to be asked, to be honest.
Ah,
I love you. I love your work. I love everything about you. So thank you.
oh, thank you. It was an absolute no-brainer. And I'm so grateful to you for shining the light on what so many women struggle through and often don't speak about. So, normalizing this within the workplace is so important. And I also want to thank you for talking about something that is incredibly personal to you.
Thank you. I mean, infertility affects 1 in 6 now, so it's nearly 18% of the population. So essentially, 1 in 5 of us, we all know someone who knows
Yeah.
someone who has struggled if it's not us. So I think And the thing with infertility is it's often a very silent disease where people don't either feel safe coming forward or they choose not to come forward for personal reasons. So a lot of the time we don't know that somebody is suffering. So they're suffering in silence. So for me, it is so important. The more we openly discuss, the more we normalize these conversations, the more people feel safe coming forward. Because I found, and I'll go into it in a minute, that me being really open with my story, a lot of my friends didn't know before my work really what was going on. And
Wow.
me now saying, this is me and this is how it played out for me, somebody else comes up and says, you know what, that was me, or that was my friend, or that was my neighbor, or thank you for sharing your story because now I feel less alone. So I think, it's so important. Um, to
100%.
just to have these conversations.
Yes. So you touched on it, but let's start where your vision effectively began, which is with your journey. So, can you share with our listeners your fertility experience?
For me, it was 6 years, and I just didn't fall pregnant once in that 6 years. I
Mm.
hit rock bottom emotionally, physically. I walked into my fertility specialist appointment, right near the end, that very last time, and she delivered another failed pregnancy test result to me. And I fell to the floor, and I thought I'd done everything right. I ticked all the boxes. On paper, there was absolutely nothing wrong with me. There was no reason, in inverted commas, why I wasn't falling pregnant. And she said to me, Lou, I can't see you for 6 months. You need to go away and you need to sort out your mental and your physical health. I'd been diagnosed with celiac disease, adrenal fatigue, chronic fatigue, and depression as well.
Oh,
And
gosh.
she said, stop. She essentially, and I was devastated. I thought she'd given up on me. I thought, how could I stop? Like, I'm over 35, I need to keep going. I need to keep pushing. I need to keep doing this. Otherwise, I'm never going to fall pregnant.
Mm.
But I walked out of the office and I went home. And you know what? I went to the dog park that night and I looked up to the stars and I said a prayer to the universe and I said, please help me. That what I'm doing isn't working and I need help. And it was from that moment that I truly started to surrender and let go. That it was a complete change. I spent 6 months just listening to my body, listening to my mind. What did I need to do to move myself forward? Healing my mind, healing my body, which was completely broken. I got
Mm.
married to my husband. I said he was my partner at the time. I said, I want to get married and I'm going to organize a wedding in 3 months. And he kind of looked at me like I was an idiot, but I was like, no, I'm doing it. And I did it. And we got married on the 17th of December, the 15th of December 2017. And I went into my fertility specialist office on the 5th of January 2018, which was exactly 6 months to the day after I'd left. I promised
Wow.
I'd be back 6 months later, and I was to the day, which is very me. And she just shook her head anyway. She took a whole lot of blood tests from me, and we started the prep for the next round of IVF. And the next day, I was sitting on the train on the way home, and she rang me up and she said, "Lou, are you sitting down?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "You're pregnant."
Oh,
And I gave birth to our son, who was conceived naturally, nearly 9 months to the day after our wedding.
unbelievable, Lou. That's
Uh,
just giving me goosebumps.
After nothing, like 6 years. And obviously everyone's journey is different and every story is very individual. But I think that moment really opened my eyes to the importance and the impact that the mind and the body has. You know, they're inextricably linked. One doesn't work without the other. And if this could help me, then maybe I could support others in a very similar way. So that's where my journey of really learning as much as I could about the mind-body connection and how it could positively support fertility, and then really advocating for those who either can't or just need it the most.
Yeah, absolutely. So you touched on like the mental and the physical side of things. So was your diagnosis multiple? Were they caused through either fertility journey, or was this something that was caused before you even started, like through your work, like just throwing yourself into things? I'm really keen to understand, like, how does the fertility journey sort of impact on your body? And I understand from people going through it, like there's bloating and there's a whole lot of stuff that happens to your hormones. And I know I haven't been through it, so I don't know exactly, but it's just from what I've been told. And then the whole mental side of things, as you say, like just constantly being told you've been unsuccessful. It
It's
must really drain on
it's
you.
hard.
Yeah.
It's almost like you just find yourself in this darkness. There's just no, you can't see a light on the other side. It's like, how on
Mm.
earth am I? Is this the rest of my life? Like how, or if this isn't my life, then what does it look like? And well, the celiac disease definitely, obviously being autoimmune and triggered by life factors. I was tested back in 2010 and I didn't have it. So when I was obviously, I mean, you don't really ever know, but the stress of my fertility journey absolutely, in my mind, triggered celiac disease. All of
Mm.
the, everything else, absolutely. The stress, I was constant fight, flight. It is a battle in my body. Like anyone who has been under any sort of immense pressure, stress for a long period of time, health conditions, work, immense fight, flight, stress response for a very long time, your body it starts to shut down,
Mm.
and it manifests in the physical body as well. It's different for everyone, but for me, it was adrenal fatigue, chronic fatigue, depression, and celiac disease, and it just showed me that my mind was poisoning my body essentially. The mind, everything starts in the mind as a thought, and
100%.
so. Uh,
100%. Was there some critical, like if you had to pinpoint, say, three things that you did that really sort of got you back in the game, so to speak, what would you say that they were for you? What worked for you?
I think number one was finding the right team of people that could help me heal my mind and my body. So I was listening to what I needed to move myself forward. I asked myself every day, who do I need to see, or who do I need to surround myself with to help move me forward
Mm.
in my healing journey. And number two, it was really about relieving this stress and getting to the root cause of it. I mean, I had so much generational trauma that I was not even aware of, it was just presenting in other ways. There was a lot, like I hated myself. Like I didn't realize it at the time, but I hated myself. And I think a lot of women do when we don't realize it.
Mm,
But I had very low self worth, no self confidence, like nothing. So I had to really work on that. I had to work on loving myself, because if we don't love ourselves, how is a little baby going to truly love us? So,
mm.
our wonderful friend Tori Archibald always says a happy heart is a magnet for miracles. And I think I found my happy heart, and I truly believe that that was the key to moving me forward.
Yeah, I love that. Everything starts with us. And once we get our mind right, as you say, our mindset is everything, what we think, what we do, and, you know, going back to the generational trauma that you were talking about too, once we get us right, then we can focus on attracting what we want to us. So, yeah, I think that's a really important message. So, why now are you so passionate about really getting these conversations going in the workplace?
For me, I worked in the legal transcription industry, so part of the legal industry. It was very there wasn't a really there wasn't really a lot of understanding or want to understand of what I was going through. It was very kind of traditional in the way it was run, I guess is probably a good way to put it. And I really struggled. I had, a really successful career. I spent a lot of time, I put a lot of my heart and soul into that business.
Hmm.
And when I didn't feel supported through my journey, it just made things worse. And I truly believe that the reason that I got to that point was attributed slightly to my career. And of course, I could have left, absolutely. But I'm like, why? I guess for me, it's why do you want to lose good people? You don't have to lose good people.
Yes.
It's a no-brainer. So that, I think, for me, I'm so passionate because I'm like, from the work organizational perspective, it's a no-brainer. It's with 18% of with your 18% of your workforce struggling, then obviously it's a no-brainer to educate yourself, just to create awareness, to create a really safe, supportive environment for your people, because you don't want to lose these people. These
Yeah.
people are these people are the key to that good people, good workers are so important. So I think for me, it's from an organisational perspective, it's like, come on, like this to me is no brainer. It's it's an easy process, I guess you could say. And from a personal perspective, I don't want anyone to feel like I did. I don't want that have to. It's stressful enough. If you
Yeah.
feel supported in the workplace, that's just one less thing you have to worry about, isn't it? So I think that's why I'm so passionate about it, because let's let's advocate for those that need it most, because sometimes they can't for themselves for one reason or another.
Yeah, that's right. And there seems to be still that stigma about talking about things that we struggle with. So, to keep good women in business, we need more women in business. For business to be successful, we need to retain good women in business and to give them that platform to feel that they can be successful. And, there is a responsibility in business now for them to help people to feel psychologically safe. So, therefore, allowing them to speak about what is going on for them. It doesn't have to be in the public forum, like at a meeting, if they feel awkward about it. But to be able to have that relationship with the leader one on one and to tell them what's going on, so why they might need to leave early or why they might be, you know, not on top of their game because they're feeling like crap. But just to open up that conversation and just normalizing it, I think is incredibly important. I know when I was working back in corporate, no one spoke about that. No one. Now I've been out for how long? 15 years now. I never heard anyone talking about that. And when I left, like I was going through there in my 30s. So I had a lot of friends who were that age as well. Never heard about it.
Yeah, I mean, we're making inroads, but yeah, we've got a long way to go. And I think starting the conversation, normalizing the conversation. I've worked with so many organizations. They host one lunch and learn, which is literally just an open discussion about, let's talk about what fertility is, like what it's like to be like a day in the life of someone who is struggling, because IVF is a full-time job in itself. You need to administer medication, needles at certain times of the day. Why are some people present and not present at certain, somebody has to rush off, there's surgeries scheduled at certain times that, last minute, that you just have to go. So really, and communication is so important. Like, what do you say? What don't you say? Because communication can be very triggering. So if you've been in it, but if you haven't, you can't be expected to know. So it's, for someone who's been in it, it seems like, well, it's a no-brainer. You should just know what to say and what not to say to someone, but you don't if you haven't been in it. So opening these conversations, and I said that one lunch and learn that I hosted, 4 people came forward afterwards, felt safe enough to
Wow.
come forward, and they said to me, Lou, they said, I felt safe enough to either go to their HR or their leader and let them know what was going on. So they could they put a roadmap forward. And 2 of them I know are in late stages of interviewing for other jobs. So that organisation was about to lose 2 very good people, and all they had to do was open the discussion, and now they get to keep all of them. Like, it's so simple.
Yes. So that's the type of thing that you can do for organizations, is like run a lunch and learn to start, I suppose, like triggering the conversation to continue.
Yeah, I mean, the roadmap forward is hot. If it's an organisation hasn't approached the fertility awareness space yet, it's really either having organising, scheduling a day, a month, or a week of fertility awareness, opening the discussion, hosting a couple of lunch and learns, or depending on the size of the organisation, all, as I said, very high level, just essentially saying, this is what it is, this is what you say to someone, this is what you don't say, this is what a day in the life looks like, this is potentially how we could help. I've even provided some strategies for stress management if somebody's listening and they are on their fertility journey, to help them find the balance between work and their fertility. And this, just doing this in itself is just so incredibly powerful. And then obviously kind of the
Mm,
next layer is then looking at really educating managers, HR, wellness leaders, anyone in a managerial position that might have to manage somebody who is in the fertility journey, really deep diving into all of the physical aspect as well as the emotional aspect, and how do you manage someone who is struggling. What do you need to do to help them. So that's kind of the next step, and then obviously policies, procedures, that kind of thing is the step after that. But
mm,
really, it's so easy. Fertility awareness day, month, week, whatever, depending on your organisation, that in
mm.
itself is a game changer.
Yeah. Yep. I love that. Really simple strategies that can be implemented. What do you believe that we as women need to do in terms, what's our responsibility around this as well?
I think we as women need to give ourselves permission to look after ourselves, put our own oxygen masks on
Yes.
first, like really, and band together. Like, let's support each other. If we need a mental health day, that's okay. If we don't complete all of the 50 tabs that are open on our computer and our to-do list that day, it doesn't mean we're lazy. It just means something happened, or we've tried and it didn't work, something. And that's okay. We normalize stress, we normalize being busy, we normalize being constantly in fight flight. And with the harder we push, the more more stressed we are, the more successful we are, and strong, and all this kind of stuff. I want everyone to breathe. We need to stop, we need to
Mm,
breathe, and we need to give ourselves, all of ourselves, permission to have some downtime, some space where we just do nothing or something that truly makes us happy, and whatever that looks like. And I think that in itself is going to go a whole long way to, well, as a whole, making us all a lot happier. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, baby, no baby, career, no career, whatever your life looks like, at the end of the day, you just want to be happy, don't you? If you're not happy, it doesn't matter what you've got.
100%. Why are you living life if you're not happy?
Like, life's meant to be fun, like a lot of my clients, I'm like, okay, we need to, I truly try and make the sessions fun. I'm like, let's bring some life, some joy. Like, what did you used to do as a little kid? Let's do it. Like, a client the other day, she said, I've got a trampoline out the back. I'm like, go jump, 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 jump. And she did. And she was just like, oh my gosh, mind blown. That was amazing. And some people look at me like I'm an idiot. Like, you want me to have fun? Like, how can I be happy? And I'm like, of course, when you're in it, it's hard
Yeah.
to see that. But with the right support and the right strategies and the right mindset, you can get to a place where you can find true happiness again. It is completely possible. And like you said, life is meant to be fun. So let's enjoy the ride. We get one life. None of us guaranteed tomorrow. Like, let's not waste it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a brilliant message to finish on, Lou. So thank you so much for doing what you do and for shining the light on this really important conversation. And I encourage anyone who is, struggling with their journey and to pick up the phone, reach out to Lou. We'll be sharing all of her contact details on the show notes. Reach out to her. She's been through it. She has lived experience. So what she can offer you and also your organization is incredibly valuable. So Lou, thank you so much for being part of Leading You and for leading this conversation.
Thank you so much, Julie, for having me. As I said, it's an absolute honor and I love everything that you're about as well. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Lou.